to segue into a very special aspect of this interview. This is a personal goal of Dr. Holick's, and this year, at an amazing 80 years of age, can't believe it, Dr. Holick will participate in his third or fourth?
Third.
Third Boston Marathon run to raise awareness of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. As if that wasn't astonishing enough, Dr. Holick is also a cancer survivor. So amazing. Can you tell us more about this run?
Sure. I mean, I had no interest in running. I've never run in my life. And then at age 75, I was diagnosed with stage 3 prostate cancer, the most aggressive form. I had been seeing prostate cancer and breast cancer patients in my clinic for a long time and advising them to be much more active for their bone health and advising them how to protect their bone health. Because typically, for a male, for example, with this cancer, you're on what's called androgen deprivation therapy. So you have no testosterone. And it turns out that if testosterone plays a role in your red blood cells, so you become anemic. I knew that men with prostate cancer, they become weak and flabby and listless. They have less interest in wanting to do things. And I wasn't going to let that happen to me. So when I started my therapy in 2022, January 2022, I decided I would walk 5 to 8 miles every day. And then in the New Year's resolution for 2023, I have stepped it up and I said, I'm going to run the Boston Marathon in 2024 to convince cancer patients, because I've been telling them to be more active, to become more active. And so, like I said, I never run in my life. So I ran eighth of a mile, quarter of a mile. But by 6 months, I was so committed, I ran 25 miles. And so I knew that I could do it. And so in 2024, I ran Boston Marathon and completed it and wanted to make people aware of cancer because my brother died of colon cancer. And then I ran in 2025 for Kira, who died at age 17, and Karen, age 24, with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, to make the public aware of this genetic disorder.
And your sponsor, is that for Spalding Rehabilitation?
So
Are they involved in
last
that?
year was
Okay.
Spalding, and now this year is Tufts Medical Center. So Team Tufts MC is the charity that I'm running for and
Okay.
raising funds for.
Excellent. We can put those graphics up too, and show everybody where they can go. Now, one of the most amazing things about this marathon run is that there's an app that you can follow the participants during the marathon. Can you tell our viewers what that app is?
Sure. So all you do is you go to Boston Athletic Association, and when you go there, they're going to say that Boston Marathon 2026 is going to be underway. And do you have the bib number of your participant? And if you put that bib number in, and mine is 29,309, you will see me actually leave the starting line. The problem, however, is that they have a 5.5 hour window, right? I have very little testosterone. I'm anemic. I'm 80 years old, so I'm slow. And so typically by the time I get to Wellesley, which is at about 10 miles, they start pulling up the tracking system, right? However, they keep the tracker on at the very end. So you could follow me for as long as successful I am getting past the trackers and then at the finishing line.
Right, that's what happened last year. I remember following you, and I was posting it on Twitter, on all over social media, and following. And it's really it's an amazing accomplishment. Especially, how many 80-year-olds are running the Boston Marathon this year?
So my understanding is 22. Last year it was 12 and 11 made it. So whether or not the 22 that have signed up for it are actually going to run this year, I don't know.
Right.
But it's 22 even out of over 30,000 runners is amazing.
That's amazing. Is that more than the New York Marathon? or is Boston Marathon really the biggest one?
Don't know.
Don't know. Okay. So it's not familiar with that. Well, I have to tell you, I mean, we are all going to be rooting for you. You know that I will be. And I want to thank you so much. It's been such an honor and a pleasure to have you join us today on Off the Beaten Path. I just wanted to ask if there were any final thoughts that you wanted to add, or if there's anything we didn't cover with regard to vitamin D or Ehlers-Danlos syndrome.
Yeah. So I think for vitamin D, I really focus on young women, and especially as they're anticipating wanting to get pregnant. Vitamin D deficiency does cause infertility, so it improves fertility. And during pregnancy, vitamin D will help prevent the most serious complication, which is preeclampsia. It also prevents premature births by more than 40%. Also, if mom is vitamin D sufficient during her pregnancy, her infant is less likely to have dental caries during the first couple of years of life. Also reduces risk of wheezing disorders. Also, people in the wintertime that have aches and pains in their bones and muscles, right? They think it's too cold outside, I'm tired, I'm working too much. No, it's often due to osteomalacia, which, like I said, is a defect in mineralization of your bone. It causes throbbing, aching bone pain. Regarding Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, right? Like I said,
Right.
if you have migratory pains, right? If you have gastroparesis, if you have postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, high palate, crowded teeth, joints click, you should be aware that you likely have this genetic disorder.
Are you currently still seeing patients, or
Right. So I don't see patients. Unfortunately, my hospital terminated me, if you can believe it, because I've been testifying for families who have been falsely accused of child abuse. And I testified opposite two pediatricians in two families in the Boston area. And my hospital initially in 2015 was very supportive of me, actually going to help me set up a clinical research program. And then after I testified for those families, the board of trustees decided that they were going to get me terminated. And so, if you can believe it, even though I'm the world's leading expert in the field of vitamin D, right, as noted by meta-analytics and Scholar GPS, number one in the world,
yeah.
they terminated me because they told me I was not a pediatrician. And in one of the expert reports, I had said that the child is vitamin D deficient. I made a diagnosis, and they said I wasn't permitted to make a diagnosis.
Sounds like some funky business going on there, huh? A little shady business, actually, more likely.
Yeah, I mean, basically, they wanted to silence me. The child abuse community
Yeah.
continues making every effort to prevent me from trying to testify on behalf of these poor parents. Again, if you go to my website, you could read about the stories of families
Right.
that have lost their children, right? And I've helped them regain them, right? A good example was just recently, 3-week-old child shows up in the emergency room and found to have multiple fractures. They instantly concluded this had to be due to child abuse. But happily, I got to see the parents, I got to see the child, I testified for them, and happily the judge in Indiana agreed and returned this beautiful daughter back to her family. But
You
many of these families are devastated because they take their 3-week-old away, they put them in foster care often, and you may not even get to see your infant again for years.
Well, unfortunately, I think politics gets way too involved in medicine, and they should stay out of medicine because it sounds a little bit political to me. But you know, God bless you for the work you're doing and for the people you're helping and testifying. You're doing the right thing. I've been, you know, in uh, aware of these kinds of situations where doctors come out contrary to what the AMA wants to, be the status quo, and often met with the same kind of, like, in fact, during COVID, I think there were some doctors who were being threatened to have their licenses removed because they were suggesting people take ivermectin, which now is, the standard medication to be taking. It's well known now to be taking that for COVID. So it just seems like there was a little bit of politics involved. I'm sorry that happened to you, but the truth will prevail. The truth will prevail, and
Physicians have been taught do no harm, and a lot of these pediatricians are doing great harm to these families. And
yeah.
I was investigated twice by the Massachusetts Board of Registration for Medicine, and they found no fault with me. And as a result, I still have my full medical license in the state of
Yeah.
Massachusetts.
Well, and this is it. I mean, it's a fight sometimes when you want to do the right thing for your patients, and there's a political narrative against it. It just takes, you have, like you said, do no harm, a stand up. The truth will come out. The truth, I absolutely firmly believe that the truth will prevail, and but we sometimes have to wait for that. But it has been such a pleasure to have you join us today on the Off the Beaten Path. It's wonderful to see you. Good luck with your third run in the Boston Marathon. You're truly an inspiration to me and a lot of other people. And at 80, just running at all is really kind of an accomplishment, let alone a marathon. So I just, tell you what an amazing inspiration you are to me. So thank you so much for joining me today on Off the Beaten Path. We have made it to the end of this, and we're already ahead of what most people already understand. So this has been a very informative and educational episode. And if you liked it, share this episode, spread it far and wide, and go follow Dr. Holick at the Boston Marathon this Sunday. So thank you so much for joining us. And it's not just about the future of our health. It is about the future of freedom. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.
My pleasure. And the Boston Marathon, April 20th on Monday, Patriots Day.